is a great achievement, and democratic system is established finally by the Constitution. Democracy now is institutionalized by the Constitution, made by the Constituent Assembly, elected by the people, and with very well representation of the people. And in this regard, the theme of this organization and this conference, the evaluation conclave 2015 is going to be organized here. And for a country like ours, where there is a democratic system, with a democratic constitution, and with commitments to implement the democratic constitution in a democratic way. That is the commitment of the government. That is the commitment of the constitution. Countries like ours, this type of programs and the conclusions drawn by such conclaves are very important for us, for very new democracies. We believe in democracy, we believe in transparency, we believe in responsible systems, accountable systems and accountability of the government, and responsible and accountable to the people, to the taxpayers who are paying the tax. And they must know how their money is being used. Whether that money is being misused or being used properly. They must know. For such purposes, the evaluation system, periodic evaluations, of course, are of very high importance. So, I would like to appreciate the efforts and the area in which these organizations and all our friends are working. And I believe we can get benefit from the conclusions of this meeting, as I mentioned before too. I would like to assure you all that we are together with you. From different countries you are. As during the welcome remarks, gentleman was telling from which continent and which country, how many people are, he was requesting to stand up. And I saw that from all continents and from so many countries, parliamentarians and experts related and working in this field are present here. To all, and through you, all the people who are not present here, even them, I would like to express our solidarity that we are together with you in your endeavors. We are joining our hands with you. So organizers can understand that how many members of the Parliament of Nepal are present here. And you saw that in the morning or the daytime, in the Parliament there was very successful, generous program. So, interest of Nepal, solidarity of Nepal, and willingness of Nepal to work together with you. It is very good manifestation of the participation and deliberations of our friends. So far, I think. Everybody knows that Nepal just some time before promulgated a new constitution. It was a long desire of Nepalese people that they were trying to make and promulgate a constitution written by themselves. So there was Constituent Assembly. Unfortunately, very bitter experience that one Constituent Assembly was failed without giving the constitution. But again we organized another Constituent Assembly election and second Constituent Assembly was formed. And that Constituent Assembly, within the period of 2 years, though the period for the Constituent Assembly to make constitution was for 4 years, but not taking that much time, less than 2 years period was enough to promulgate the constitution, and a new constitution is promulgated. I want to just tell you that with pride, I can say that the constitution promulgated recently by the Constituent Assembly is really a democratic constitution. All the fundamental characters, norms and values, and standard of democracy are incorporated in our constitution. Not only that, but special arrangements are made for inclusiveness, for proportional representation, everything. For women, 33% guarantee in legislature and other levels. Similarly, in the local bodies, 40% of the women's seats are reserved. For backward, marginalized and backward sections, 45% seats are reserved. And those people who are inside the category of 45%, they can take part in the open competition of 55% too. They can compete. And if they cannot compete, for them there is 45% reserved. All the people have equal rights, equal opportunities, equal security and dignity or respect for all equally. These are the fundamental things. Multi-party competitive system, periodic election, right of disagreement and opposition, separation of power, independent court, and guarantee of human right. All such things are there. And Constitution is very responsible, and it is responsible not only for today but for future generation and for the safer world in the future. For climate change, global warming, etc. In all these fields also, the Constitution is aware of. Our society was backward, so there were some discrimination, disparities in the past. But now our Constitution has eliminated constitutionally and practically all types of discrimination and disparities from the Constitution. Everything. And there is complete equality to all people. We have mountainous, hilly and plain areas. We are a country of 125 ethnic groups, 123 languages and dialects, so many cultures and geographical diversity as well. In essence, this is the country of diversity. This is the country of diversity, and this is the country unity in diversity. Our society is an example of unity and diversity. And the basis of the unity and diversity is elimination of all sorts of discrimination and disparity and social equality and justice, security and respect to all are the basis of that social harmony, social unity, national unity, all these things. You know, a few months before, Nepal was hit by very devastating earthquake. You know, more than about 900,000 houses were destroyed. More than 8,000 people were killed. 900,000 houses destroyed, more than 8,000 people killed, more than 23,000 people were wounded, and so many government offices and buildings and structures were destroyed. And similarly, our very precious historical monuments, religious places were destroyed. Nepal is backward, everybody knows. And through the Constituent Assembly, we were trying to promulgate a new constitution, and being based on the constitution and with the orientation of the new constitution, democratic constitution, we were thinking to concentrate our own entire efforts and endeavors for economic development. Modernization of agriculture, industrialization, mechanization, and other so many fields, tourism, service sectors, and developing infrastructure and using our natural resources like hydropower and others. We were thinking, but after the promulgation of the Constitution, we don't know why. We are facing very serious, undeclared type of blocking. Fuels, petroleums, diesels, gas, etc. are not being available. Because we are a landlocked country, of course we have some international rights to reach to the sea and for free transit. But all these things are there, but we are facing blockade. No cooking gas, no diesel, no petrol, etc. I think you have seen to some extent. You have realized, I think. We are trying our best to resolve all these problems. And you must have heard that in some parts, particularly in southern part, some parties or some people are unhappy or unsatisfied, and they are raising some questions. I cannot explain in detail now, but I would like to assure you that this constitution is promulgated with the participation and vote of more than 92%. Constituent Assembly members, more than 92%, they have signed the constitution. And the draft was sent to the people. There were discussions, and the suggestions and comments from the people were taken in the field. Member of Constituent Assembly visited the places, different places, and they received suggestions and comments from the people. And those comments and suggestions were incorporated in the Constitution, and each and every 308 articles, including the preamble and annex, one by one, each article was discussed, put for voting, and was passed. One by one, 308 articles. You may hear that there are some discriminations about on the question of citizenship, etc. I request my friends to provide English copy of the Constitution. I think there are English copies of the Constitution are available. Give them. And even give all friends email address. If any suggestions are there, we are very receptive. We are ready to listen, even yours. We are open for the world. We are open and commitment towards democracy. Not as I define the democracy, but democracy according to the international understanding and standards. What we understand in the name of democracy. In that category, in that height, we accept democracy. So, all the suggestions of all are welcomed. In this situation, we are in a situation of crisis. But I believe, with best wishes of yours and your cooperation and your support, we can overcome those difficulties too, though we are facing very hardly. That is one thing. But it's a nation, and it can survive, it can overcome the crisis, and it can bring and enter in a new conducive, favorable situation for development. The dream of our people is development. Is if something which is unmatching, undigestible, that is very laborious country, very resourceful country, very fertile country, and is now known as very poor country. It is unmatching, undigestible, and we want to change this situation as soon as possible. So our efforts are concentrated on that direction. So, the relevancy of this conference, this conclave, of this meeting, are very, very important for us because we want to be transparent, we want to be responsible, we want to be accountable, and in all levels, in different levels of the government, we are launching some periodic evaluations and correcting mistakes if there are, and conclusions of this program also will be beneficial, useful, helpful, and instrumental for us. I believe that. With these words, again, I would like to extend our support, our solidarity with you and the success of this program. Inviting me in this program, I would like to thank a lot to the organizers. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you, my Honorable Prime Minister, for those words of wisdom and encouragement. And you also heard participation.
Dear friends, I have to go. May I leave now?
So may I request?
I will be together with you tomorrow evening's dinner if I get time for a while. for a short time. And media. Bye.
We have a plaque of appreciation, and I request you to join me in conveying our appreciation to the Right Honourable Prime Minister.